For the longest time, the SNAP program, or should I call it the EBT program, majority of Americans used to say it's usually favoring the black community. But now the reality has come in. The statistics are saying that 36% of white people are benefiting from the EBT, or should I say the SNAP program, while 25% of black are the ones who are benefiting, while the rest is the Hispanic and the Asian American. So the reality is majority of the people who are benefiting from this program are the white people, especially the ones who are living in the red state, the ones who are living in the rural areas. They're mostly coming from the humble background, poor family who cannot afford to buy grocery, who need assistance from the government so they can be able to literally feed their family. So with this cut down on this program, so many people are complaining. They're saying over 40 million Americans are going to starve. So what's going to happen to these families? And majority of them, they're not only just black community, they're also coming from the white community, Asian American community, Hispanic community. So what's going to happen to these families? That is the reality. So people are talking about it, and the government right now is literally shutting down this whole program. You can call it whichever name, but at the end of the day, it is assistance offered by the government to the community, to the poor family in America. So for the longest time, being poor in America is being seen as being shameful. For the longest time, if you say you're poor and you need assistance from the government, it's being looked like you're lazy. But the reality is there's so many reasons why some people end up becoming poor. One or another, maybe you did financial, you had an issue with the finance, you lost your job, and maybe your insurance, you had medical bills that literally ate up your savings. So one or another, things can happen which you had not planned, and you end up becoming poor. So what happens to this family? They turn to government assistance program. That's where food stamp come in. Well, that's where the SNAP program came in. That's where the EBT program came in. But now, majority of the politicians, they use this as politics and made that issue where say black communities, black families are the ones who are the most beneficial when it comes to this program where they're being fed by the government. So they wanted to do away with it. But now the reality has come in, and people are facing the statistics. They're like, oh my God, are you telling me it's going to affect the white community? Yes. When it comes to the government programs, when it comes to the government, when they say they're cutting down a program, it doesn't affect just one demographic. It affects everybody across the demographic, whether you are black, white, Hispanic, Asian American, it doesn't matter. So long as you're benefiting from that program, when they cut it out, everyone is going to suffer. So when the people who decided to go to the vote and voted the way they did, and now the current administration is like doing away with this program, everyone is going to suffer. Whether you voted for this person or not, it doesn't matter. When the government make a decision, it affects everybody. So now you're seeing people becoming so furious, saying, how am I going to take care of my family, or how am I going to take care of myself, how am I going to survive this month if I don't get this food stamp? The reality is you literally ended up voting for something that was going to affect you. This is what they call karma. Karma is a bitch. That's what they say. Karma is a bitch, and this is the reality. When you vote, know who you're voting for. Vote for somebody who has your best interest at heart. Let me know what you think about this video, and of course drop your comments. I'd love to hear from you guys.